Mikhail, thanks very much for joining us today. There's a lot going on in the energy storage markets. What would you say about their development at the moment?
It's exciting, right? I think we've been talking for a few years now about kind of a hockey stick in terms of forecasts for energy storage. And now that we've got a few years of a track record, we actually see that that's what's happening. We're seeing very huge projects being developed in the United States. In the United Kingdom, there's a whole policy. In Australia, a very large system was installed last year, and very much in China and Japan, which I think are actually pushing the vanadium flow battery technology even more. But so far, a lot of those forecasts have been met or even exceeded, and I think I can still parallel that to what's been happening in the renewables industry, where similarly we start here, and it's been an amazing kind of growth trajectory the last couple of years.
And specifically vanadium, how much of a role do you think it has to play in this market?
Well, quite a bit, but it's a bit regional. So we're still seeing, for example, in the United States, lithium still being a lot more successful than vanadium. There's a few systems here and there, but they're not very large. However, if you look at the Chinese market, for example, it's the exact opposite. Two of the largest batteries being developed right now, regardless of technology in the world, they're in China, and they're using vanadium redox flow battery technology. That's an 800 megawatt hour system by Ronke Power, and that's being installed in Dalian, China, which is in the northeast, and then a multi-phase, but eventually it's going to be 100 megawatts, 500 megawatt hours by Penang in the Hubei province. These are two very large systems, and they use a lot of vanadium. That Ronke system, for example, if it were just done in 1 year, it would take about 5% of global vanadium production. And that's a fairly large number just for one battery.
And how is Bushveld working in this area?
So our strategy has always been to be integrated. So our objective as a group company is to be, one of the largest, most integrated, lowest cost vanadium producers. And this integration piece of that mission is where the energy part comes in. Because most of the vanadium right now is still very much used in steel. But the large opportunity, really, where you have this amazing growth, is in energy storage. And so what we've tried to do is to both support the market and then also play in the market. So the most expensive component of a vanadium redox flow battery is the electrolyte. It's the piece that actually stores the energy, and most of that is the vanadium. So what we want to do is to actually make that input, that component in South Africa, and we're fairly advanced on that as well. We're almost done with the feasibility. We'll probably make an investment decision on that either in the second quarter or third quarter of this year. We're working together with the Industrial Development Corporation, and they're very, very supportive of this project because it brings employment to South Africa, an export-oriented industry, and it's also a new industry, which is quite exciting. So that's what we've tried to do, is to not just be the supplier of the vanadium, but actually go downstream and make the components. And then the other part is we're also deploying the technology itself, across the continent. So our first project was confirmed last year. It's with Eskoms, which is the South African utility. It's also the producer of 40% of electricity on the entire African continent. So it's a very large potential customer, but also, a credible company that, from an engineering point of view, a lot of other customers in Africa look to. And, having that project, which, we'll install in the second quarter of this year, is also quite exciting for us.
And what would you say is behind Eskom's interest in this technology?
I think there's a number of things, right? So first of all, there's the whole technical benefits that technology offers, right? It's a long life battery. It's not a 5-year battery, it's a 20-year system. And that is very much aligned with other types of equipment that a utility uses. Transmission lines, substations, all of these are 20, 25-year assets. So it's actually nice, it's a nice synergy there. So they've got long-term planning. They want to have long-term assets. I think the other part is, what the battery can do. It doesn't degrade over time. So if they want to use it a little bit differently, there's no warranties that they're going to be out of. And then there's the benefits of the price. So when you need to shift large amounts of energy, flow batteries really become a lot more cost effective than lithium batteries or lead acid batteries. And there's a lot of need for that in any kind of power grid. It could be for peak supply, but it could also be for deferral of system upgrades on the transmission distribution lines. All of that creates a lot of value for utility, and Eskom's trying to see, can this technology actually deliver all of that value Or to what degree can it? Are the efficiencies what the manufacturers promise? Is the availability? All of these things it wants to test to actually see whether its business case is going to be as rigorous as it thinks. And I think the fact that they're looking at this technology shows that there's a lot of upside. And plus there's an element of that this can be a local technology, right? At least some of the components can be made in South Africa. So there's that element as well. But I think the technical part is really what's driving it, as well as the ability to kind of localize some of the value.
There are clearly a lot of moving parts here, but how is Bushveld Energy looking to influence the direction of this industry?
I mean, look, energy in general is very regulated, right? Because of strategic reasons and also the importance that it is basically everybody's life. And there's a number of things we can do. I mean, we could just kind of sit and hope that the regulatory environment changes, or we can try to push and guide and help. So there's a number of things there. So one is, I chair the energy storage subcommittee within Vanitec. Vanitec is the global body of vanadium producers, actually, based here in London. But it's producers, it's chemical companies as well, and increasingly the battery companies. And this is a way for us to actually, come together, and rather than just have one company talking about something in Australia and then another one talking about it in North America, a common voice, common themes. And then as a collective, we can advance the narrative and maybe give some additional options to engineering firms or utilities that are looking for energy storage. So that's one key thing. The second is a bit more local within South Africa. We're launching an energy storage association. This has been quite effective in engaging with government and other decision makers, whether it's in North America or in Europe or in Australia. So we need something like that, because in South Africa we're seeing a change in government. We're going to have a new cabinet as well. Who's going to speak to them? Can I just go there as Bushveld Energy? Probably not as effectively as if we can go there as a collective. Again, as an industry of dozens of players who see the value that it has for South Africa and for Africa overall. So that's another important thing. And the other part is we just need to be more vocal at conferences and spread the message, the technical benefits, the financial benefits, and I think also there's an element of safety and environmental and sustainability that the battery brings, and that's not out there. People are talking about lithium. We're going to make sure that they're talking about vanadium as well.
Mikhail, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you very much for having me.